Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no, no. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me.
Hi there. So people had said that the live stream that was connected to If You Let a Markle Lie, the live stream was too long to kind of be able to sit and listen to all of it. So what I thought I would do is for the people that maybe didn't want to, give 2.5 hours to watch it, I would split it into two parts because really there are two pretty distinct parts. There's the first part, which is kind of my presentation that discusses the whole main topic. And then there is part two, which is pretty much me and Dell just having a chit chat with everybody in the chat joining in and contributing. So if you'd like, this is more the informative part. And then the second part will be, when Dell and I sort of misbehaved and went off topic a tad bit. So this first part, which was the original presentation, is called If You Let a Markle Lie. And then the second one, I'll come up with something to indicate that that is, in fact, the second part, which is pretty different. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see people. I see Nick's W. I see Martha Cardial. It's so good to see you all. Silver Moon Tea Room. Guinness says hello to everybody. He's actually off with my daughter right now, so he's happily active and doing fun things. So he shouldn't be a contributor that I know of, but you never know. Hello, Asez-vous. Hello, M. It's so good to see everybody. So while everybody is coming in, I want to run an idea by everybody. So I have a video that I'm working on that deals with the Markle Foundation. Now, the Markle Foundation, the more I look at it, like there's a lot going on there. And I want it to get a lot of views and whatnot. But if I put it on ORMV, historically, the Markle stuff, not only is it suppressed by YouTube, but it doesn't get as many views. So I'm thinking of putting it on my political channel. And so that's my thought. And I'm interested in hearing what you think, because if I put it on ORMV, it messes with ORMV's algorithms. But if I put it on OPMV, obviously fewer people are going to see it. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you have any points of view? Here, I'm going to also put in the chat. This is the link to my OPMV channel, which I'm slowly but surely moving my political videos over there so it messes less with the algorithm of the ORMV channel. And so anything that has sort of political stuff and that might deal with things that YouTube might not want to let out, shall we say, I'm going to start putting over on that OPMV channel. And it's not monetized, so obviously YouTube has less incentive, I guess, to suppress it. Maybe they'll pay a little less attention to it. But yeah, Markle video on the new channel. Yeah, that's a good idea, Silver Moon. But I've done that before and it still doesn't get anything. But I think that that's going to be the only way to do it for now. So, but that was my choice here tonight. I was either going to do a live on the Markle Foundation stuff, or I was going to do If You Let a Markle Lie. And I went for If You Let a Markle Lie. And if you know the video or the book, the children's book, if you give a mouse a cookie, well, then he's going to want a glass of milk. And if you give him a glass of milk, then he's going to want a peanut butter sandwich. And if you give him a peanut butter sandwich, then he's going to want a nice place to sleep, all that stuff. So basically saying if you let them get away with it, then they'll want something more the next time. And that's kind of what we have going with the Markles. If you let a Markle lie, then the next Markle the next lie is going to get bigger and bigger. And that's how I kind of see things happening, is that the more we let the Markles get away with their lies, the bigger the lies seem to get. And just the crazier. I mean, if you saw my video about um, the interview between Lady C and Samantha, I mean, how many new stories did she come up with? I mean, out of the blue, it's once again, let's take all those previously assumed, you know, answers. Yeah, Martha, I do. I put stuff on Rumble too. But Rumble, again, it's hard to keep all three things uploading because none of them let you upload to one and apply it anywhere, unfortunately. So I've been trying to do the same thing on OPMV as I've been doing on Rumble, which is kind of put the videos there and let them just kind of gain sort of following just from having consistent video uploads and hoping from there, that kind of stuff. But so we're going to go through some of the Markle's lies. Like I said, how many new versions of stories did she come up with in her latest interview? And right there, you had Lady C say things like, "So we know that Trevor specifically said to Thomas Markle Jr. about the hysterectomy," and then 2 minutes later, Samantha says, "Well, we know that Trevor said it in an online article." Well, no one has ever found a credible report that Trevor has ever said anything. But we're supposed to believe that Trevor and Tom Jr. were so close that Trevor is telling him this private information. Is that what we're supposed to believe? Because I personally find that a little tough. But let's see what we have here. A couple things that we're going to go over today. Some fun stuff. All right. So this is what inspired me. And if you didn't see my post, if you've listened to any of my videos, you know that when you talk about the Constitution and you get it wrong, you're going to trigger me. So for Samantha to actually put it in her profile that she is in fact a constitutionalist, that triggered me. And it did. And now she also puts in here, who puts their height in their X profile? I mean, put a 1 in the comments if you would ever put your height in your X profile, and a 2 if you would never do that. Because I personally would never do that. So where are we going with that? I don't get that. But needless to say, yeah, we got a 2. Needless to say, Samantha has put constitutionalist, 5'10", MAGA, free speech advocate. hmm And we've all seen the video where she actually was saying that, social media platforms need to start using bio identification because no criminal should have privacy for free speech on a social media platform. Well, the part that she seems to miss out on is that nobody has been proven guilty of any of the things she claimed on a social media platform. And until you are proven guilty, you are considered innocent. Therefore, taking privacy away from everybody to what? Prosecute the few that are guilty before they have been proven guilty? Do I have that right? I mean, that whole thing seems a little backwards to me. But this is what triggered me. We have her saying she's a constitutionalist and she's listing all of her degrees. So I thought it was about time I really looked into those degrees. And I started with Samantha Markle's half sister, or Samantha Markle, Meghan Markle's half sister, earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology, psychology from the University of New Mexico. She also holds a Master of Arts degree in counseling from New Mexico Highlands. Additionally, she owns a Master of Arts degree in playwriting and screenwriting from Southern New Hampshire, which is also interesting because I also found that she has earned apparently a third master's degree in vocational rehabilitation counseling. But I've also seen that vocational rehabilitation counseling could be combined with the initial Master of Arts in counseling. See where the problem started here? That there are so many differing reports that I have no idea what to go with. Hey, Jam Scam, I hope the move is going well. I saw the empty apartment, you poor thing. I know that's tough, but I know that it's going to go good. But we have here all of these crazy different reports about what her degrees are. So, what did I discover? Well, believe it or not, and let me see if I can make this bigger. Mm-mm. Believe it or not, we can prove these degrees. And no one was more surprised by that than I was. But it seems she does, in fact, have these 2 degrees. Now, what I have to pay for each of these. So once I went with these, I didn't really bother about the one with the screenwriting and playwriting, although I do have a little bit more about that. But I didn't bother verifying that. I stuck with just these 2 degrees. And apparently, yes, they are, in fact, legitimate degrees. But what do we notice on this? Well, we notice that both degrees were awarded name on school's record. Samantha Rasmussen. See that? One Samantha M. Rasmussen, the other one Samantha Marie Rasmussen. So I then went back to the Royal Grift because she is the one that first kind of did that. Yeah, we're going to get to that, CC. No, no employment records whatsoever. But um, I went back to the Royal Grift because she is the one that first kind of took. And I love how the Royal Grift does things because she goes and she says, okay, this is what I have. I have this photo. How can I use this photo to make a point? And she always thinks outside the box and is able to prove things with things that I wouldn't have said were evidence of anything. So what she did was she took this. And if you notice here, the diploma that Samantha is holding, it has the seal on the top, then a whole bunch of blurry stuff we can't read. Now, that's when the Royal Griff went through and she went back and she found other photos of these degrees. Now, you notice here, this is the University of New Mexico. This would be our bachelor's degree. So, what photo we know this couldn't be the bachelor's degree, right? Because the bachelor's degree has the seal on the bottom. See that? And now we know that that bachelor's degree can't actually be a real diploma because the school has on record Samantha Rasmussen. So she did lie. Now, whether or not you want to believe that someone might have been capable of going through and changing these records, that's that's for down the line. We'll deal with that on another day. But looking just at what I can verify through official sources, we have to assume Samantha has these 2 degrees. So why'd she lie about this photo? We know this photo can't be real because, or this diploma cannot be real because this is not a photo of her diploma. And you have to go back to the Royal Griff because she goes through it better, where she does prove that University of New Mexico, as well as I think it's New Mexico Highlands University or Northern New Mexico Highlands University, whatever it is. The seal should be on the bottom. So we know this photo is not real. Now what? Now what? Right? So, well, Allison, paid off at the school, or does it go higher? No, my question. My question might be that it goes higher. Hello, Dell, my co-star from my last live. Absolutely a hit. Wonderful. Hopefully you'll come join us again in a little bit. Um, so we know this photo is a lie. Is a lie. I just read live, and so I said live instead of lie. We know this photo is a lie. We know this photo is a lie. We know that this degree couldn't happen because the University of New Mexico should say Samantha Rasmussen. So why did she change it? Well, my assumption is that she changed it because she wanted to prove supposedly that she's always gone by Markle, right? Wasn't it the argument of Megan that she changed her name to Markle once Megan was engaged to Harry, right? That's the story, so that she could capitalize on being a Markle. And Samantha said, no, no, I've always been a Markle. Look, my degree is a Markle. Well, we know that the diploma is not real. So what's different? What did she lie about? Did she lie about the whole diploma? Well, we proved that she did, in fact, get a degree from a Bachelor of Arts from the University of New Mexico, but she definitely should not have had Markle on it because her name on record at the school was Rasmussen. Now, what about this one? New Mexico Highlands University. That's the other one. Now, this one, she does, in fact, have Rasmussen, which is correct. That's what we found on the records that the school has on record. So her degree, therefore, would be the one that the school has on record. And this says counseling and guidance, nothing about vocational rehabilitation, just says professional and rehabilitation counseling. Okay, so maybe that's vocational rehabilitation. Now, I don't know about you. I happen to have a bachelor's degree and I have a master's degree. I don't ever get the degree incorrect, right? I know what my Master of Arts was in, and my Master of Arts is actually a Master of Arts in Teaching Social Studies. That's the full name of it, with a concentration in history. Now, I'm not going to get that wrong, right? So how does Samantha keep getting her degree wrong, the title of her degree? But I guess maybe that's nitpicking. Okay, so I'll take that. But you also get, hold on a second, Jody, would you be so kind as to take down that? Great, thank you. Because you can see, again, the seal is at the bottom, right? So this degree, this photo, could not be her master's degree because, again, the seal is on the bottom. And I'm going to go one better because New Mexico Highlands University is, in fact, online. So you get an online degree, you don't have a graduation ceremony. You don't walk when you are in an online degree program. Now, could the reason for faking this be that there was no graduation ceremony for Samantha because any degree she got was an online degree? I mean, because, University of New Mexico also has online degrees. Is that the reason? I mean, we could imagine for days what the reason for all of this might be. I mean, we obviously have no idea. But based on the information we are able to verify at this point, Samantha has 2 confirmable degrees. We'll go with that. But neither say Markle on the diploma, or neither should say Markle on the diploma. And that photo cannot be her with either of those degrees. I mean, do you agree with that? Are we good so far? Yeah, Megan's head in that graduation photo looks absolutely ridiculous because taking away the fact that her head looks too big Why does she have flowers in her hair? Why is she wearing a silky? That looks like she went to a club one night when she was in college. That does not look like what you would wear to your big sister's graduation. I mean, maybe that's just me. I have older siblings. I did not dress like that to any of their graduations. Yes, lie upon lie upon lie. So that's what I have with the degrees. I think right, we can prove this scene never happened. We can say she does in fact have 2 degrees, neither of which say Markle, and that makes this inaccurate and a lie. So why does she lie? Well, lie upon lie upon lie. So that's what we have so far. Now, hold on a second. Mm-mm. Where's my Markle's greatest hits? Yes, I do have a folder that is the Markle's greatest hits.
Lie upon lie upon lie.
So, so that leads me to a little bit more information about what Samantha has been doing since graduation. Like someone said, has she ever actually been employed as a counselor? Well, I have not found any evidence of that. I did, however, find evidence that she was self-employed in 2012. Apparently, it's a very old LLC of her own, Angels Redemption. Now, given her counseling, could we assume this was her doing something that is somehow counseling related? I mean, is that what we're supposed to think from this? Could you think that from this? That's what I thought from this. But let's see. No, of course not. Angel Redemption LLC. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Grant Markle. I love writing. So this apparently goes back to the screenwriting master's degree, playwriting and screenwriting. I love writing, and I am working on writing higher concept films. At the same time, have my sights set on finding a way, LOL, to be able to program a computer to bring characters and story to life without losing the essence of being, presumably being, human. That being said, I wonder if many artists in the industry will be out of work at some point because a computer programmer is able to play writer, director, costume designer, makeup artist, writing director. Oh, so you're putting dad's colleagues out of a job? Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Should we all just learn computer programming and CGI just in case? And interesting because here she is this, if we go back, because everything you got to go back to the previous thing. You go back here to the date of Angel's Redemption, August 2012, and then she went and got her screenwriting master's degree, right? Do I have this right? I mean, tell me. Put a 1 in the comments if this all adds up for you, and put a 2 if it doesn't, because something here just smells rotten in Denmark. We can look here, we can see what the supposed degrees all are. And again, according to this, she's got 3 master's degrees. 3. Now, New Mexico Highlands University found 1 when I verified, but okay. Yeah. 11111. You think that this sounds good? Oh, Claudia, if you think that this sounds all legit, I would love for you to come join. You want to come talk? We'd love to have you because I absolutely would love to hear the explanations for all of this. Come on, let's all encourage Claudia. Wouldn't that be great? to hear someone defend it? Come on. I've dropped the link. Oh, okay. Too bad. Damn. I thought we had one. I thought we had someone who could explain it all to us. Well, thank you, Claudia. That would have been great, but thank you. Thank you for not agreeing, for not thinking that it makes sense. That actually makes me feel much better. All right. So, if anybody does think this makes sense, please, we would love to have you. So, there's more. Of course, there's always more. So, like New Mexico Highlands University online degree program, so is Southern New Hampshire University online degree. And believe it or not, and I know this is hard to believe, but I swear, I actually had at one time, while my kids were very young, and I was working from home in order to be home with my kids, I worked for a company that worked with online universities. I was an online writing tutor. And what it was, and I was able to do that through my master's degree, both in teaching and through the fact that my teaching subject was a subject that is high in writing. It wasn't like I was a math teacher. So I was able to be a writing tutor, an online writing tutor. And what I did was I worked with all the students, because what it was as an online program, instead of them having a writing lab on campus, what they or it, through their program, I guess, they would contract out to us, and we were the students' writing lab. So they would come to us with their essays, and we would show them where they were making mistakes. For example, if they were not including a thesis or not properly expanding on their thesis or not providing enough examples. So I got to know the online university degree world pretty well doing that for about 6 years. So I know how these online universities work. And more than that, I know the level of work that comes from the online programs. Now, these are the online schools. I'm referring to the online schools that are just online degree programs. I'm not talking about, say, for example, the University of New Mexico that has some of your classes might be online. I'm talking about the programs where you do an entire degree program without ever stepping foot in a classroom and without being affiliated within mainstream degree programs within a school. I'm talking about places like Southern New Hampshire University Online, which is a separate division from Southern New Hampshire University. Okay. So, and there is a difference. And that's something that also most people wouldn't know. I only know this because online schools, I've worked with them a lot. So I know kind of the caliber of work that comes through these online degree programs. And not to say that you don't get this brilliant student every now and then that you're like, wow, you know, they're way above the norm. But most of them, and what I found most of, maybe it was because teaching was also kind of my focus. A lot of teachers in particular, there are some states that once you get a higher degree, you are automatically eligible for a higher um, a higher pay scale. So a lot of teachers will do these online degree programs and they half-ass them. You know, they just do it to get the degree so that they can boost their pay. So there's a lot of that, that even people who were of higher caliber education are just getting the degree to be to boost their pay scale, and they're just doing just enough to get the degree. So a lot of it is that as well. So not that necessarily the caliber is low, but the effort can be low in some products. In some, I'm sorry, I'm reading I'm reading comments as I talk. Apple product, there is a way to do it. I don't know if Jody, if you have it, if you are able to put the link to the membership. I can't do it right now. If I don't do it right now, if Jody's not able to do it, I will do it. I'll put a post on it later tonight. But some of these degree programs, like I said, some are good, some are bad, the people have a lot more effort than they put into it, but you can get away with doing very little and the getting, the degree. I'm not saying that that's the case with Samantha, but you know, you know how it goes. All right. So what else do we have here? So I found a little bit more about Samantha. Now, here is her IMDb. I look at this and I just have to laugh. Do we see her spouses? Right? We see her spouses, Earl Hale, who she married in 1980 when she was a teenager. Now, is that before or after the rope swing accident? And was that before or after she was living in the Markle home after Megan was born, right? Because look at the date, 1980. Megan was supposedly born in 1981. So how was Samantha living at home with Doria and Megan when she was already supposedly married as a teenager? Does that make sense? Does any of this line up with any of the previous supposed? Oh, we'll get to Ashley. We'll get there. We'll get there. But, here she's married in 1980 as a teenager. Now, you're marrying as a teenager, you kind of have to wonder. Yeah, she's not 5'10". You know what I really love, Jamba? You look at Thomas Markle Jr.'s IMDb, he's 5'9". Not only does she list 5'10" in her X profile, she had to be an inch taller than her brother. Like, anyway, but 1980 for her supposed marriage, that would not align with Megan being born in 1981 and Samantha being there and taking care of Megan and taking her to school and Samantha being there as a high school student with Doria smoking cannabis on the front lawn. I mean, none of it would add up, right? None of it. None of it makes sense. None of it would correspond. But, let's see. If their ages aren't right, and Megan was born in 1977, and then the couple years later, to get out of the family home, got married, would that make sense? Yeah, that might make a little more sense, don't you think? But who knows, right? Of course. Now, as for Ashley, I promise you, we're getting there. We're getting there. Now, the Royal Griff found some great photos. Now this one, you have Thomas, and who's that on his lap? Is that supposed to be Megan? Is that one of his sons? Is that Archie? I saw someone make a very good comparison between this photo, this person on his lap, with Archie when he was doing his first birthday, little, when she was reading him the book, you know? And that certainly looks like Archie, right? Now, wouldn't that be interesting? And this photo that the Royal Griff found, it was published in like 2017, 2018. She had the date in her video. I don't know exactly when it was, but it was around then. And of course, who got the photo credit, right? Of course, of course. Coleman Rayner, Jeff Rayner, whatever, whoever those people are. The same people that it's Jeff Rayner and Coleman Rayner, right? The same photographers that Samantha claims set up the Markles by Meghan in order to arrange for the whole hubbub with the wedding, right? You know? No, I don't think Junior is Archie's father. No, no, no. Because this photo was from 2017. But I do think that it would be possible that whoever this is supposed to be, whether it's supposed to be Meghan or it's supposed to be Tom Jr.'s sons, could this be a good template for Archie? Right? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe in Duck Duck Rabbit video. Oh, the Duck Duck. Oh. Um, the Duck Duck Rabbit. That's the book that she read. I was like, Julianne, what are you talking about, duck? Because of course, when you said duck, the first thing I thought of was that ridiculous video where she watches the ducks walk by. But yes, Duck Duck Rabbit was the name of the book. But yes, that to me, Munchie, photoshopped. Did they use this person or this child, whoever he may be, to create Archie? I mean, the whole thing. There's absolutely none of their photos that I see as genuine. Now, and the next thing, this I put it in a video, and this was originally Royal Griff found this photo at the same time. Now, I looked at this and I said, Meghan, and I put that in my video. I said, I look at this and I just see Meghan. I see Meghan's face with Samantha's hair. But people on X did a brilliant job changing my mind. Now, the Royal Griff said she looks at it and she immediately sees Samantha. And I was like, no, 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 I see Meghan. But if you look at this, well, now I see it, right? I do see Samantha in this. And I actually even see that one, two, three, fourth picture from the left or second picture from the right. Now, it does look a little bit like Samantha, which originally I said it didn't even look like her. But I do see that I see a stronger resemblance to Samantha. I mean, I still look at this photo and still think Meghan. That looks like Meghan with the freckles and the cheekbones and the nose and the mouth. I see Meghan with Samantha's hair, but I more clearly see where I could be wrong, if that makes sense. And yeah, I mean, if they are truly related, then yeah. Oh yeah, he talks, can't get it when the book falls. Yeah, yeah, that whole thing, that duck duck rabbit thing. And what Duchess debuts her son to the world in a diaper? I mean, I debuted my kids to the world, which was admittedly a very limited world, just family and friends and stuff, with more care and effort than she did. Is this to say she's just normal, or is she just this lazy, or is it just that she's not a parent and can't understand that that would not be appropriate? I mean, I don't know what it is. It could be any of it. Any and all are possibilities. Now, let's talk about Ashley. You were all asking about it, and I said I'd go here, and I'm going here. Because in looking at photos of Meghan and Ashley and Samantha, I started to notice some things. Now, if we see here this photo on the left, and when you look at it, and you can see the photo on the right, I highlighted the areas to look at. And when you do, it's very hard not to see the clear line, the clear circle around their face. And the thing is it's not just the hairline, which there is the very clear distinction where you see white and then different shade, right? You can see the distinct hairline changes on both of them. But the thing that got me is that you also see it on the side of Ashley's face. Now, I'm going to theorize a little bit here. If we presume Megan at any and all time is going to be wearing bronzer on her face, that line may not be odd for Megan. So is this, oh, Tammy, thank you so much. There are no children. There is no mansion. Just Kelly's place. Oh, Kelly's place. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that potential. I've seen the photos that say that. Google Kelly's name and it's all Megan now. Love you. Thank you so much, sweetheart. That's so sweet of you. But yeah, I think you make a lot of strong points there. Hard to argue with. But if you look at this photo where you see the lines on Ashley's face, was this a photo of Megan and someone where they just superimposed Ashley's face on it? Is that possible? And there's more. This photo, which we've seen many, many times. This is the photo that apparently proves that Megan truly loves and adores her beloved niece. Now, this is a wedding photo. Can we all agree there? I mean, this is a wedding photo. Ashley's in a wedding dress. She's got a bouquet. Does this look like something Megan in her 20s and 30s would wear to a wedding? I mean, this looks like a mother of the bride dress. Someone who's maybe a little older. Would a young Megan wear this to her beloved niece's wedding? I'm not thinking that. I could never imagine that. But let's look at just the fact that Ashley is in what's clearly a wedding gown. She's holding a white bouquet. I mean, that's that is clearly a wedding photo. But she goes by Ashley Hale. Hale is her maiden name. And a married woman who may presumably have kids is going to go spend her Christmas with her aunt that she barely knows. I mean, and I have not found any evidence other than one or two articles that say Megan went to Ashley's wedding that indicate Ashley is married. And again, Ashley Hale. I mean, yes, women do keep their maiden name for professional reasons and whatnot, but not usually, the average person. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a bigger thing now with the younger crowd. Yes, she is an immigration lawyer, and we'll get to that too. A different hand on her waistline. Yeah, nothing looks right about this photo to me unless it is a wedding photo. And if it's a wedding photo, I refuse to believe Megan would wear that muumuu to a wedding in her 20s and early 30s. Now, again, and this one, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Look closely at the hairlines. Because if you look at the places that the hairline, the highlighted areas in the photo on the left, and if you look at the photo on the left and then the one on the right, and you look at the strange and what I would call them, those are like photoshopping shadows, meaning it's something where you erased something from the photo or you changed something about the photo and there's a shadow of it. You didn't do it well. In other words, you were careless and you left something out. So that's what the two things on either side of, again, Ashley's cheek, um, that's what that indicates with the purple. But even if you just look at the hairlines, look at the line of distinction. And I think no, I didn't. Okay. I thought I put in a photo where I could zoom in a little bit better on the photo that is the two of them. Sorry, I had to cough there for a second. But to me, if I look at that hairline, once I see that distinct line, again, it looks like there were, yes, yep, absolutely, Tegan. And we see that a lot. And my favorite photo where you can see that is when she's the maid of honor for Lindsay Roth. And in that photo, that's not Megan's body. I can't see that being Megan's body. So that tells me Megan's face was photoshopped onto a photo of someone. And then the question is Ashley in the original photo? And I don't think it's even Ashley. And that's why I highlighted the two, what I see as shadows from around Ashley's face, is I think that was also glued on. And again, the only time you see, did she, Susan? I don't know. I mean, did she have implants for Deal or No Deal? I don't know if she had implants or if it's just that we are so used to seeing photoshopped photos. I don't know anymore. I think all of us could walk past Megan on the street and not recognize her because we've seen so many photoshopped photos that we wouldn't know. Yeah, Cece, when was the supposed wedding? That's just it. The only evidence I have seen that Ashley ever got married was when it says, um, and Megan attended Ashley's wedding. So the only evidence that Ashley is married is when it compares, you know, it to, yeah, she had a thicker face. I think she had a thicker face in the previous one, and that's the thing. That's why I think someone had to change the dimensions of her face to fit within the construct of whatever photo template they were using, and that's why I believe there are those shadows of careless photoshopping. That's what I think. Do with that what you will. Now, this exploration is where we start going into the Markle Foundation. Remember, I said at the beginning, if you came in late, you might have missed it. I said that I am working on another video about the Markle Foundation. And what I am working on is more of the connections that we see with the Markle Foundation. And this attorney, mhm, immigration attorney, might in some way be connected to the Markle Foundation. And so that's where the two connect. But like I said earlier, if you came in late, you might have missed it. Um, I said I will probably be uploading a video on the Markle Foundation to my OPMV channel. That's my Our Politics May Vary. It's my non-monetized channel. And the reason I will put it there, and I'm going to post a link for that OPMV channel. And the goal of that channel is just because YouTube suppresses all my political videos and it messes with my algorithms. So, and because I also think that generally not as many people are as interested in it. That, the um Harry and Meghan stuff just plays better. So for now, and I don't have the clout of the royal grift and the the proven track record that she has of people watching her videos, so that one or two political videos really mess with my algorithm. She's got that more leeway because she's had all the many videos. So I can't put out one political video and just take the hit of it, even if it means half the people see it. It's going to affect my algorithm, the percentage of my algorithm proportionately more than when, say, the Royal Grift does it. So I don't have that leeway. So in the meantime, I'm going to be putting political stuff onto OPMV. And because the Markle Foundation gets into the Aspen Institute and the Brookings Institute and all those very important members of the Biden and Obama administrations, that's why I am going to put my Markle Foundation video up there. It's going to get suppressed if I put it on RMV. And if I put it there, the suppression is going to then result in lower numbers, lower stats, affect my algorithm, the whole cycle there, right? So that's why I'm covering this on Ashley, because if we're talking about a Markle, we gotta start talking about this, because where has this person disappeared to? And where's Noelle? And how come Christopher never said a word? I mean, and what happened to Tyler Dooley? And why do Tyler and Thomas Dooley use their mother's maiden name instead of using their father's name? I mean, there's so many questions about these children, not the least of which is that how come Thomas Markle Sr. never talks about any of these grandchildren and his estrangement with them, but constantly talks about how he never sees Archie and Lily, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that kind of is the defining factor, right? That's where we kind of come up with quite the conundrum, is that there's complete hypocrisy when you talk about Samantha and Thomas Jr.'s children, Thomas Sr., and where these children have all disappeared to. Tyler Dooley made a quick little, appearance in order to what was it? Um, advertise his Markle Sparkle. Does everybody know what the Markle Sparkle is? Is that I'm trying not to say what it is, but we can of course find a way to say it without saying it. If anybody doesn't know what the Markle Sparkle is, what is it? Do people know? Yeah. Yes, Kitty. Yes. That's it. Because that's what Tyler Dooley does. Yes, that's a much better way. Mary Jane, much better way to say it. Yes, he did. No, he didn't go on, was it with Lady C? I mean, he went on an MTV, I'm a Royal or something. I don't know. He did go on a reality show. I have a whole theory that those reality shows, they're just big networking. All of them know each other. And it doesn't matter if you went on a reality show with specifically Lady C's son, they all know each other, in my opinion. And that's more than just, Markle stuff. That's all those, reality shows, Big Brother, whatever, The Survivor, any of those. I think that they are all big networking, and they all know each other, and they use each other to get to know people, use people, get opportunities and whatever. And so whether he was actually on it with Lady C's son or not, and honestly, what was it? Junior was the first one to do a reality show, right? He did the Big Brother Australia. Once one of them was in that network, I believe they knew everybody, if that makes sense. But what do I know, right? Now, one more thing for you, and then hopefully someone will come up and talk to us. I see that there's someone who doesn't agree with us, and please don't block anyone. I look forward to going back and seeing their comments later. If anybody wants to explain why all of this makes sense, and all of Samantha's conflicting degrees and whatnot, if someone has a way to explain that to us, please absolutely join us. Now, I did a video about this. Now, this, if you don't know, go watch the video that I did the other day, which was looking at the, yes, I know, looking at um, the alumni page for, for Immaculate Heart High School. And what I'm going to try and do here, and let me play this while I try and figure out how to share the Immaculate Heart page.
Lie upon lie upon lie.
That's just for fun. All right, here we go. I hope I do this right. All right. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Let me make sure. You are, in fact, seeing what I. Yeah, there we go. Okay. You are seeing what I'm seeing. This is the Immaculate Heart School website. Now, obviously, anybody who has taken a tiptoe through classmates.com, you know that the yearbooks from approximately 1990 to the year 2000 are not available for Immaculate Heart High School. Is that unusual? Yes, that's very unusual. But we'll go with it. So instead, we have to look at other ways that Immaculate Heart High School may or may not confirm or deny the timeline for Megan's attendance. Now, and it seems it's taking forever to load, but if you go to their Alumni Association, you can see that this happens to be the year that Immaculate Heart is doing their reunion for, these are the milestone years this year. So there is a way to go to just these, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years reunion pages, but I found a way to do something even better. Now, if you go here, these are the class banners for all the years of Immaculate Heart High School's existence. Now, originally, and this was someone, Angry Lemon Water, found this brilliant thing. And this was what my last video looked at. You go to the class of 1995 and you zoom in here. It's not going to let me zoom anymore. Well, some of it you may have to go actually to my video to see. But if you zoom in here, what you will find is this person, this isn't going to work. I got to do something better here. Hold on. Bear with me. Mm, mm. Now, if you were me, where would you have put that photo? There we go. Mhm, mm. It's not a video. Of course, you can't share a video. It's not a video. It's an image. Here we go. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better, right? You can see it better there. And if you see here, you can see that it goes from Sybil Mark to Liliana Flores to then, what's her name? Something, Jenny Mata, right? So my question and Angry Lemon Water's question was, did they take maybe someone whose last name comes between Mark and Mata and replace it with Liliana Flores? Well, as it turns out, the Royal Grift has identified Liliana Flores, and we don't know. Well, and the other thing, Lily Flowers, like, come on, Lily Flowers, for that to be what they would have replaced it with, like, that's pretty crazy, right? So the Royal Grift found that this person is actually, her last name is actually Mascaro, that Flores Mascaro is her last name. And so that automatically goes in between Mark and Mata. And why she would have not had that listed properly, potentially because of a hyphen, there might be a reason. Yes, they called Megan Flower, and didn't her mother also call her Lily? Now, for them to replace it with Liliana Flores, like that just seemed, again, once it's a coincidence, twice might be a coincidence, three times may be a coincidence, but when you get into this many coincidences, it's not a coincidence anymore. So we looked at this and we said, well, is this telling us something? But as I said, the Royal Grift has proven that this person does exist. And that was something, it was actually JamScam that gave me a great idea, because here I was trying to prove whether or not where Megan should have been there. And he was like, "No, you have to prove something. You have to look at it from a different angle." And through what he told me, I said, "That's it. Proving she exists would prove because if she didn't exist, well, then you would have to question, where this picture came from and whether or not it was real. But by proving she did exist, it proves that this could be legitimate." And the fact that her last name ended up being something, Mascaro or Mascuri, something Moscato, something like that. But something that would fall alphabetically in between Mark and Mata, well, okay, now we kind of understand it, right? So let's go back to this then. Sorry, it was giving me trouble adding that. Hopefully you can now see this. Okay, so let's go back to this. Now, one thing that you will notice if you look at this is the class of 1995. Trying to do this so you can see. There we go. Class of 1995. And you see here that all of the classes, and I can go through them all, and I'm going to go through a couple of them, but all of the classes, their banners all share a few things. They all share the class picture where you have them all on stage at graduation. They all share the photo that has them in the 9 and 5, in the year of their graduation. All of them have the, each person listed with their name in the little, portrait photos. But beyond that, they all have different, various candidates from, student body, you have, senior day, things like that, right? Now, if you look at this one in particular, and this is, remember, the class of 1995. If you zoom in, and I don't think it's going to let me zoom in anymore. I have better photos in my video. Let me see if I can do this again. Try and get those better pictures up. Here we go. This is the photo from um, the one of those photos that we just saw. And look at that. Director is, of course, Gigi. That is the friend of Lady C's. And you have the producer, Deborah Parker. And then you have lighting by Thomas Markle. Hmm, that's pretty definitive, right? Well, in 1995, presuming that Megan graduated in 1999, she would have been a freshman. And her father is contributing to the lighting and working with Gigi. But if you go through the cast, she's not in the cast. Hmm, interesting, right? That he is helping. I mean, I guess it's possible if she was still somehow involved in it, that somehow he was still doing the lighting. Okay, all right. Then you see this is that year's musical. And lo and behold, we get Meghan Markle in the cast about midway through. So she's in this cast, but there's no lighting credit on this one. Hmm. This is still Gigi being the director, but you don't have any lighting credit. Now, is this because this is the musical and you have the vocal director and you have the music director, and so there were other people higher in the pecking order that needed to be acknowledged? Maybe. But, you know, well, that's interesting, Tegan, because I'm going to get to that. We'll get there. That's what Samantha said, in fact, in this most recent interview, right? And if that was the case, why didn't he do the lighting for this? But okay. Now, let's go back to the school banners because that's really the important part here, that the school banners. This is just pointing out things that I caught in these school banners, but it's actually the banners as a whole that I want to look at, right? So, as I said, you can go through and all these classes worth of banners. Now, the only one that shows the school productions for the year is 1995. You can go through. 1992, you have, remember I said, they all have the numbers, they all have the stage where they graduate, they all have the portrait pictures, but here you have senior life, the Christmas dance, student government, changes in the campus, class officers, nothing about the plays. Then you can go to 1993, same thing. You have the typical picture, the standing in the numbers, the portrait photos, class officers standing on the stage, and then just, random senior activities. But the only year that you can go through of all those years, well, I shouldn't say that. The only time in the 90s that they have the school plays was in 1995. The only year ever. You have here the senior officer, same thing, senior life. Um, in fact, if you look through these, they really don't have, here's the Christmas dance. They usually have the dance, they have a couple things, senior retreat, and then this is 94. Then we already looked at 95. 96, you have same stuff, class officers, student government, senior activities, the prom. But you're noticing here, right? Nothing about school plays. The moonlight dance, the mother-daughter luncheon, same things, but never the school plays. But the only year that they have the school plays is 1995. Do you see where I'm going with this? That uh, uh, it seems manufactured. They took something that may have been legitimately in the yearbook in 1995 and added in where you have the name Meghan and Thomas Markle. So it doesn't prove that she wasn't there any other point in time. Doesn't prove that she didn't, graduate in 1999. Doesn't it seem a little bit odd that the only year that they could find Meghan in any sort of drama, play, musical was in 1995? And that this is someone who's going to become, a world famous actor thanks to Suits? See what I'm saying here? I mean, it doesn't prove or disprove anything, but it certainly does raise questions, right? I mean, to me. And I think it was a great find of Angry Lemon Water to find those alumni pages, and I think it was a great find for the Royal Grift to identify Liliana Flores. But I I still have questions, right? I still wonder that things don't seem quite add up. So, what do you guys think? I know I've been talking, and it's because I've been looking at the screen I was sharing, so I couldn't see any comments or anything. Oh, oh yeah. Why didn't she turn up? Well, yeah. Where was Dorito? Hunchback of Montecito. So I haven't really been looking through the comments because I've been looking at a different screen in order to do that. But Does anyone want to come up and talk? I really want to hear you guys because I don't have that much more interesting stuff to say, but I'm happy to stay and chat with you guys if anyone wants to come up. Del. If anyone else wants to come up, anyone wants to join, was there not someone that was going to say that they might be able to?
Dancing in the